Welcome to the 7th episode of Coffee with Kelsey. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes yet, be sure to go back and listen to those as well. And let's go ahead and dive into today's episode. Preparing for our professional debut was an extremely exciting, nerve-wracking, and just overall, it was an exciting time. It really was. We were very, very nervous. We didn't know what to expect, but we wanted to put as much emphasis on enjoying that first time out as possible because it had been quite a while since we had been able to perform because we were working hard behind the scenes to up level and make our dancing better and to come out with a sense of almost a new product. Together with our coach, we selected our first event, our first competition that we would be making our pro debut at. And it was very fitting, if I do say so myself. It was a beautiful, really amazing competition right in the heart of Manhattan, right in Times Square, which to me felt like the epitome of showcasing our art form. And, we couldn't think of a better place to do it than right in New York, right in the middle of Times Square at an insanely gorgeous venue. We were very, very excited to have that as our first one out. Getting ready for our debut, we needed to make a pretty swift change in our approach because we were no longer going through in those small details and working a bit slower in getting a lot of those things in and feeling everything. We needed to change our approach to performance mode. We needed to start to get our athleticism back up so we would be able to compete because, we're performing, of course, but this is still a competition and this is still very much an athletic performance sport. So we needed to go in and really start getting our cardio up, start training in different ways also. Our days definitely, as far as scheduling went, they varied a little bit, but for the most part during that time, we were the first thing in the morning, wake up and go for a run. That was the first thing out the door, go for a run, come back, we'd have breakfast, and then get ready and go into the city and get ready to train. So typically we were using about the first, I'd say between an hour and a half just on our own, wouldn't even touch each other. And then after that, we'd start working together. Start with a round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, some days 3, and then start working out any details that we needed to go through together to make anything better, any improvements that we needed. But during this time, we especially, we were focused on mostly conditioning because we needed to up that. We were sometimes in the gym twice a day for cardio or strength training and spending a lot of hours, as many hours as possible in the studio. And of course, working on top of that. So our days were fully packed. Sometimes we weren't coming home even until quite late because if we could or if we needed to, we would also squeeze in another practice session after we were done working for the day. So the days were long and intense for sure. Getting our look together as far as what we were going to be wearing for this professional debut was also another task that we had to tackle. It took us a while to settle on a specific look for our first time out. We went through many, many different options. We were trying to figure out, how we wanted to look, what, specifically me, what type of dress. I had a very specific image in my head of how I wanted to look on the floor. But at the same time, since it had been so long since we have been out on the floor competing, I wanted something a bit different to distinguish that switch and that, I guess, maturity jump over into the professional division. And it took me a while and a lot of hours with our dressmaker to finally come up with a concept that we both agreed on and that we were happy with. And some of that concept changed as many dresses do whenever you get the fabric actually on the body and start draping it and putting everything where you need to put it. And of course, in true ballroom dancer fashion, I received my dress the day before the competition. Yes, so it was immaculate. The dress fit like a glove. It was absolutely perfect. The only thing is that I needed to stone it. So I had this great dress, but I needed to put now all of the stones on this dress the day before the competition. Now, the day before the competition, we always liked to kind of keep it as a rest day and kind of a meditation day. And especially since this first one out was technically a home competition because it was in New York City, it worked out. It worked out. So it kind of made me sit back and say, okay, I'm just going to work on this. Although I do not recommend to anyone to stone your dress the day before the competition, because I'll tell you this, I'm really glad that, the professional divisions dance at night here in the US, but, I was up till all hours of the night getting this dress ready. And every time I thought I was done, I'd step away from the dress. I'm like, nope, I need to put more. Nope, I need to put more. So in the end, it worked out, but I definitely do not recommend doing that. Have your dress ready way before your comp, at least a week out if you can. Don't do what I did. The day finally arrived. It was finally competition day. And let me tell you, the nerves, the excitement, it was all there. And I can't really explain that feeling. You almost get into like this meditative state. I was getting ready and doing my hair and makeup and just feeling like just happy to go back. So excited to get back on the floor and start this new chapter in our career. So the nerves were very, very real for this debut. And let me tell you, we didn't pick an easy event to have our debut at. Not only was this a massive event, it was also judged by the top professionals in the world. We're talking former world champions galore on our judging panel. And we needed to make a statement. We needed to get out there and really enjoy ourselves, but show up and say, we're here. We're in this division now. We're so excited, but also in the back of my mind, I was freaking out quite a bit, but you get into that meditation and doing hair and makeup, getting ready, and I felt ready. I wanted to be out. We felt just very excited. Since there were so many people on the judging panel who we had the utmost respect for as professionals in our space, we really wanted to make a statement. But in order to do that, we needed to go out and enjoy our dancing. We needed to not be stressed and just go and enjoy it and actually perform and live in that music, dance in that music. And if I do say so, I think we accomplished that. That was definitely our main goal for that first time out. The music was incredible. The floor was amazing. It was perfect. Everything came together. This was a massive, massive competition with couples from all over the world attending and competing with us. So we actually ended up at the top of the quarterfinal, actually only 1 mark away from the semi, only one. And in hindsight, yes, that was very frustrating, but it really wasn't the point. We just wanted to go out and enjoy our dancing. We started from a first round, and we were very happy with that going out. I mean, that was the first time out. We were just excited to go and dance and enjoy the music, enjoy the space, and be on the floor again. And we accomplished that. We were definitely in our zone. And with that, we did get some attention that was actually much appreciated. The biggest win for us at this debut was that we got the attention of some professionals in our space that we had the utmost, or we have, absolutely have the utmost respect for, and for their art form, for what they've contributed to our profession and our dancing. And that was incredible. And those world champions who were on our judging panel were unanimously marking us into the next round in every dance. And for us, that was possibly the biggest win we could have had on our first time out, was to gain the attention and the marks from professionals that we have the utmost respect for in our space. And that was the biggest win, that's for sure. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of Coffee with Kelsey. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, and I'll see you next time.